Hello, everyone. My guest today is Indrek Poldvee. Before startup worked in sales almost for 10 years in Estonia, lived in India for 12 months, and then in Nepal for 6 months. In 2015, he was one of the founders of a company called Sorry as a Service, which we'll focus on today. In 2016, he went to Startup Wise Guys Accelerator in Estonia, and then in 2016 went to the Techstars London Accelerator. He sent over 70,000 gifts to date on behalf of companies you may have heard of. His biggest customers are British Telecom, DPD UK, TransferWise, along with many others. In 2017, he started his own podcast in Estonia. Indrek, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, hello, and great to be with you guys.
All right, so real quick, tell us the name of your podcast, then we'll jump into your company.
So the podcast is in Estonian language, so unfortunately a lot of people cannot understand it, but its name is Hakkame tegutsema. It means just start doing something.
I love that, just start doing something. So speaking of just start doing something, you started Sorry as a Service. Tell us what the company does and how do you make money?
Yeah, so Sorry as a Service was founded with 4 founders, and one of the founders was ex-TransferWise worker. And the thing that they saw is like people or companies really don't know how to deal with the company complaints in a really personalized manner. Everything is automated, or everything is we give vouchers and gifts. And we thought, guys, let's change that a little bit. And we made a software that companies like you mentioned in the beginning, TPD and British Telco, that they can send personalized gifts by just pushing a button. And we provide the software, and all the gifts that we are sending are handmade. So this is how we differentiate from other gift providers. Is like we send cookies, handwritten notes, chocolates, and cookies and chocolates, they have the customer name written on them. Mm-hmm. And all the items that mostly we send have also a handwritten note including with it.
And what's your model? Really how do you get paid? Is it a SaaS service, or is it pay as you go, or what?
Yeah, so it's a SaaS model, and we like to work with bigger companies, and we also have small margins on the items that we ship out. Okay. So there's 2 revenue streams.
Okay. On this, I imagine the SaaS model, the revenue makes you more than the margin model, right?
It's also sometimes actually because the volumes are so high, like we are sending like 400 or 500 items per day. So sometimes these actually margins are pretty interesting there.
Interesting. Okay. So what are people paying you on the SaaS side of things on average?
So it depends on the company size, if it's bigger or smaller. So right now we are focusing on API integrations that we like to automate as much as possible. And it's starting from 1,000 pounds a month, so to say.
So is that would you say that's a fair average, 1,000 pounds a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends on the customization, also what the customers want. Right now, like because our API can integrate with any web-based CRM, and with DPD UK, we have been integrated with Salesforce, for example. Yeah, and we can do a lot of custom features there. So it's really interesting.
So 1,000 kind of pounds, or which is about 1,300 United States dollars today. That's average customers pay per month. That's just the SaaS side of thing. Then you have the margin side of things as well. Give us more of the backstory here. What year did you launch the company in?
So we got together in 2015, and our company was started in a hackathon. So all the 4 founders that, actually there were 7 in the beginning. We were in a hackathon, we had the idea, and none of us knew each other before. So all of like pretty much random people, and we got the idea. And it took about 5 months after the hackathons when we registered the company, and we had the proof of concept. And the proof of concept that we had was pretty much me in an Excel file and a car that I went just hustling. I had actually left my job, and I had 2 job interviews. And
why did you leave your job?
Because before the hackathon, I realized I didn't like the job I was doing. Like I was working in a small company and in an accounting company, and I was a sales guy, and I wasn't really good, but it was not really exciting.
How much were you making? How much money did you give up when you quit?
Oh, in Estonia, I don't know, not much. It's average, like 1,200 euros a month. That's average salary in Estonia.
Got it. That's about 1,800 US dollars. So you quit that. You're going to job interviews. Then what?
So when the job interviews happened after the hackathon, And then on job interviews, I realized that these jobs that I'm applying, they don't get me excited as the Sorry as a Service that we did in a weekend.
Yeah.
So the hackathon was 48 hours.
Yep.
And in the 48 hours, we needed to build from idea to our first MVP. And we actually won the hackathon, and we got really, really excited about it. And
so what was total revenue in that first year, 2015?
2015. A couple of hundred euros.
Okay, so not a ton.
Because only 3 months we launched it. It was in October 2015.
Okay.
But it took us. It took me. I had 2 job interviews, which I turned into customers.
Oh, that's
because
funny.
In the end of the job interview, I realized damn, this is not very passionate. And I told them, hey, okay, this job is interesting, but I was in a hackathon, and let me know what you think of this idea that we're doing. And these people who I had a job interview, they said, okay, let's try this.
There you guys have it. There's your hack to get your first 2 customers. Just go in through their job portals on their website, and then when you're in the interview, pitch them on your product and ask for their feedback, right?
Yeah.
All right, Indrek.
That's exactly what happened.
So what'd you scale revenue? What'd you scale into in 2016 in total revenue?
So 2016, we got into the accelerators. So again, we were all first-time founders. We got into the startup Wise Guys. We got the first investments, and then we got into Techstars. We got the second investment, and then I think our total revenue in 2016 was 150 to 200K.
That's healthy. And how much did you raise? Have you raised today in total?
Oh, we only took money from the accelerators. We actually didn't take any outside investment. So
how much?
It was funny because 250.
Total. Okay.
Yeah, total. And it was funny because we were in Techstars London. We had the biggest team, but the lowest burn rate. So the thing is, we are Estonian, so we try to make everything quite cheaply. But with the high quality.
That's good.
We were living in dorms, and we really, really looked after our burn rate, because our CEO is really, really crazy about that.
So who are you? You're one of the founders, but you're not the CEO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm focused on sales.
And what's the team size today?
Team size today is 8 people.
8 people. And what's burn?
Yeah. So burn rate, it's like now it's 20K a month.
Okay. That's net or gross?
That's gross.
Okay, gross. Got it. So what would net? Are you breaking even, or is your net burning still?
Yeah, so we are breaking even. So it depends on the month. So that's where the volume comes into play. When we are shipping more items, then we get the break even. If we send less items, then we are so.
Got it. So your total expenses in a given month is about 20 grand, right? Depending on what your sales are, will determine if you're going to break even that month. And a lot of that comes down to volume and the margin you make. Exactly. Interesting. And how many customers are you serving today?
So right now we are focusing on enterprise customers. So the problem with them is the sales cycle is quite long. Like
how many today?
12 months.
How many are you working with today?
Today we have 11 customers.
11. And how do you deal with? I mean, imagine gift giving can be very seasonal or cyclical. How do you try and sell these people a monthly recurring product when they'll say, Indrek, we only want to use this during the holiday season, and then we want to turn it off?
So the thing is, what we try is that's why we're making the software. Is we want this to be continuously. For example, I know that our company name is Story as a Service, which is short for SaaS, and it's a pun of that. But most half of the gifts that we are sending is loyalty. Thank you. For example, if you're a bank and the customer takes the first loan, then we automatically send them a gift. Thank you for trusting us, with a handwritten note for taking this first loan. Or right now, DPD is using us when something goes wrong, or British Telecom sends, like when the customer buys, for example, extending the contract for another 2 years of their cable service. They send thank you flowers. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for doing this. And this is a huge model. And there are so many people you need to thank, and you need to keep your customers happy. And it's not like you're sending not a regular customer or regular T-shirt or something that is not customized. It does personal.
So what's the challenge? I mean, why aren't more people then sticking with you? Have 11 customers today. Why don't you have more?
So the problem is we are nice to have product right now, that we haven't marketed ourselves better. and because also we have limited funds, and we haven't showed that the pain is big enough, and we need help with that a little bit.
Yeah.
But we have seen amazing numbers actually that what our gifts can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. Like with your business, it's a nice to have. Like any CMO would say, yeah, we would love to do that. It feels like the right thing to do if we have the budget. But when push comes to shove, we're going to cut it unless you can prove that this cohort of customers that you gave a gift to last year, they expanded their revenue by 20% more than the cohort that you didn't give a gift to. But you don't have data like that yet.
Now we have some results with British Telecom where we have, and some other customers where we have actually shown that our ROI is 2.6 times higher than normally you give vouchers and other things. So it makes more money.
Interesting.
And actually, yeah.
What does it cost you to acquire one of these customers?
Oh yeah, that's a hard number to put because again, I told you the sales cycles are 8 to 12 months, and not putting our own working hours because in a startup you don't count your own hours because you're working for passion, and then it's really hard.
Do you pay yourself?
Yeah, now we started in the beginning. Again, that's why our burn rate was so low because the salaries were quite minimal.
So you pay yourself, and are you the only salesperson?
We have partners that we are working with, but they are mostly consultants, and we pay them when they get a new customer.
And what % do you pay them?
It depends on the deal. So It really depends on the deal. Yeah.
But
is it enterprise? Is it small?
What's the most that you'd pay them for, like 10% or 30% or what?
It's 20, 25. And also then we have like different schemes because we pay also for one is for the software and one is for the item. So the item margins, that also varies because it depends on the volume.
Sure.
But the software, we know exactly.
Yeah. So on the software, if someone's signing up for $1,300 a month, are you paying that channel partner 20% just on the first month revenue or for every month after as well?
So we have a timeline. We normally do like 4 to 6 month pilots to prove that this really works. And if they sign on, then we pay for another longer period.
Okay.
So we like them to keep also like generate a passive income for them.
Yeah. So generally speaking, you'll pay these folks about 20% of monthly revenue. But does that go on in perpetuity forever, or is it just the first year?
Right now, just the first year, and because we take over the customer talkings and upselling.
Got it. So if the customers are paying on average $1,300 a month, that's $15,000 per year. You're paying the person that gave you that business about $3,000. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're talking averages.
Again, we're talking about average, and also like everything can be negotiated and see if they have really good relationship with these companies, then we keep on, and if they upsell themselves, they don't want to give the customer for all the details, then again, like there's many opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that makes sense. So tell me about your churn.
Yeah. So that's also something that we are looking on, because we are focused on the customer who are actually buying from us every day or every month. So we have actually huge churn, but it's because you mentioned like they want to only use us in holiday or just once a month. And we actually don't like to work with these companies because they don't give us steady volumes. And because all the items we are shipping, it's handmade, our bakers also need some kind of minimum volume. So it's really hard to predict. Like if I need, like in 2 weeks, I need 5,000 items. It's very hard to predict these things. But right now, if a company makes every day like 400 or 500 items, we can predict that for the next 2 months or so. So it's much easier for us to work with suppliers.
Yeah, but that's like Amazon saying everyone that only uses us on Black Friday but pays us Prime annually, we don't want them because they only use us once a year. Right? They actually do use you consistently. It's just it's consistently on an annual basis, not a monthly basis. Yeah. So why can't you change your like supply chains and stuff to match that? You know that pattern exists.
We know it exists, but we don't know the volumes. So it's random volumes for them also. They want to say maybe we start with 200 and something else next time. And it's really difficult for us because we need to focus because we still are a startup and in a really small one. So we need to focus on where we can get the most revenues the fastest and steady income.
Yep. On the
But
SaaS,
but the holiday ones are really, really, really interesting.
because you're dealing with physical products here. Even when someone pays you on a SaaS multiple, you're having to pay for the letter to get shipped and all that. I mean, what's your gross margin? Is it like 50-60%, or is it like typical SaaS companies at 80 or 90%?
No, it's not that much. So for the software, it's different, but for the items, it's definitely not that much because it's a physical product.
Okay, so what do I get if I just pay for the software?
So for the software, you get the access to our API, and the API you can integrate with your CRM, and you can actually start making the gift giving and everything much faster.
But there's my point is, though, there's no value to just having the software. You'd only buy the software if you also used gifts.
Yes.
So what's your blended gross margin across both the software and the product side? Do you know?
Oh, that's no, I don't know.
Okay, all right. But my point is, you have costs that most software companies don't have because you are dealing with shipping physical product.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, like, we don't ship anything ourselves. Everything is shipped by suppliers. So we don't have a warehouse. We don't have anything. We are just the connector of connecting the
but who pays the supplier?
Yeah, so we pay the supplier. So we pay for the items but that's already in the price. They calculate the price and they give it for us. For example, if we want to send out a handwritten note, this price is for the suppliers, and then we add our margin. Yes, but the margins go down when there are bigger volumes.
Yeah. I mean, what your margin is probably like 5-10% on an item.
Yeah, 5, 10, 15, depends how much we get.
Interesting. If Salesforce came and offered you, $400,000 to sell the company to them, would you sell?
Depending on the terms, and it will be really interesting discussion, and we are all open to these kinds of partnerships.
All right, Indrek, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
How to Make Friends and Influence Them.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Oh, there are so many.
Name one in Estonia.
One in Estonia? That's a good one. Let me think. He's not a CEO, but well, the thing is, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I can give you a podcast I follow.
Sure, name one.
If that helps. So Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income.
Good. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building your business?
Oh, using Gmail and all the plugins Gmail offers. It's amazing sales tools. There are so many of them.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Oh, 7, 8.
Okay, and what's your situation?
Sleep is very, very important.
What's your situation? Married, single, do you have kids?
I'm single and I have kids.
Okay, how many kiddos?
I have one, and she's 7 years old and going to school in fall.
Oh, wow. Okay, and how old are you?
I'm 36.
All right, Indrek, last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Start faster, and don't worry about what happens. Just go with the flow.
Guys, there you have it. Start faster. He quit his job many years ago, 2014 timeframe. Then went in for 2 job interviews. Ended up turning those 2 job interviews into sales of his new product that he just put together last weekend over a hackathon. Launched the company in 2015. Sorry as a service. It helps you send gifts at scale to your customers. Keep them happy. Keep them longer. They now have 11 customers paying about $1,300 a month, doing about $14,000 just in software revenue. They also make a 5 to 10% margin on the actual products they sell or the products they ship to customers who pay them. They've raised $250,000 just from 2 accelerators to date, burning out $7,000 per month as they look to scale. Again, that depends on volume in any given month with their team of 8 in Estonia. Indrek, thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan, for this opportunity.